Hello, lovely ladies. This is Agnes van Rijn from agnesvanrijn.com. I am the founder of the Successful Women Academy Bootcamp and the owner of Success on Your Own Terms. You may notice that there is a change here. It used to be Freedom Lifestyle Business, but I have just rebranded to Success on Your Own Terms. I'm also the founder of the Women Who Makes Things Happen show, and today I am absolutely delighted to be interviewing the beautiful Val Bisharat. So let me just tell you more about her. Val Bisharat is a writer, a women's wellness expert and entrepreneur who helps women feel amazing about their bodies so they have the energy to lead remarkable lives. She believes that passionate, heart-driven women have the power to change the world and that healing one's relationship with food and body is the golden key to just doing that. A woman to my heart. Welcome, Val. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. I'm doing really well. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm delighted to have you here. We've been in touch for quite a few months right now. Well, probably a year, meanwhile, more or less.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I've really always enjoyed, interfering with you virtually. We have had the chance to talk a few times. And yeah, well, I really love who you are as a person. And so tell us more about you. What do you do? Where do you come from? Tell us your story.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, I'm a women's wellness expert, and what that entails is I help women basically create empowered relationships with their bodies through holistic nutrition, fitness, and also really deep inner work, which ends up looking like spiritual work. And I sort of arrived at this place. The journey started at the beginning. I was growing up Middle Eastern in California after 9/11. And this was a time when there was a lot of racism towards Arabs and Muslims. And I became really uncomfortable with certain aspects of my appearance. So I was really self-conscious of my big eyes, my curly hair. And I thought it sort of gave me away as being Middle Eastern and was the source of a lot of the ostracization I was feeling as a person. Mm-hmm. And so when I got older, that sort of self-consciousness really got transferred onto my body. And by the time I was, maybe 17, 18, I developed a lot of sort of emotional eating habits, unhealthy behaviors around food, eating a lot of junk food as a sort of replacement for dealing with my emotions. And so I moved to college to go to NYU, where I studied gender studies and fitness culture. And what I got into at NYU was the world of female bodybuilding, nutrition. And I actually competed in a bodybuilding competition, and really it was incredible, but it also sort of resulted in me developing an eating and body image disorder. And come the end of college, I sort of hit my version of rock bottom and could no longer really deal with the restrictiveness I'd been placing on myself. I knew it was really time to heal my relationship with my body, which had been a challenge from being Middle Eastern when I was young, and then becoming an emotional eater when I was in late high school, and then having this body image and eating disorder in college. And went through a healing journey, connected with some incredible mentors, started doing yoga, and basically went through the personal process of realizing that it was my passion to help other women heal from the same thing, while using the tools that I learned as a bodybuilder and as an intensive weightlifter and personal trainer to actually really develop a healthy body from the inside out. So that's what I do now.
Fascinating. I find it so hard to imagine you as a bodybuilder.
Yeah. Well, I actually competed in figure, which is not exactly bodybuilding. It's like bodybuilding. It's a physique sport. You basically diet for 3 months and work out really hard and get on stage, and you're judged by your body. But it's different physical standard than bodybuilding. Like I wasn't as huge as a bodybuilder. I was very, very lean. But it's feminine, athletic, toned muscle that they're looking for.
Okay. Yes, that looks better. I can imagine. Yeah. I can imagine. So tell me, so how long ago did you start your business, your current business, what you're currently doing?
So I've been coaching women in fitness and nutrition, helping them design meal plans and lifestyle plans for about 3 years now. I decided to really try and make it my full-time gig about 14 months ago.
Okay.
I purchased an online business program at that time. And then I launched my website in last August. So I really count that as when I launched my business, simply because I run a primarily online business. So the website for me is like really the marker.
Okay. And so in that process, tell us about your journey, how you got started, what challenges have you been facing?
So once I graduated college, I joined a startup team, a Silicon Valley startup company. So I was really, really lucky in that I worked with an amazing team of people who were really invested in helping me learn. And I got the opportunity to work on a lot of online marketing projects in the area of like Google AdWords, social media marketing, content marketing. And it was super fun, and I was super passionate about business. But what I was noticing in that time was there was just like this lingering feeling of like, I can't stop thinking about fitness and helping women heal their relationships with their bodies. And it was just kind of like a matter of time before I went in this direction. I wasn't even thinking really about starting my own business, but one day I mentioned that I a year ago purchased a business program, and that was Marie Forleo's B School. And I wasn't even really thinking about starting a business, but I was sitting in my kitchen one day cooking, and she had this video series, a very long video sort of outlining what B School is like and what you learn in the program. And I was standing there and I was like, if not now, then when? Like, why not now?
Yeah.
And by like 2 days later, I had put down a chunk of my savings. It was $2,000, but I was like, I have to do this. And more than anything, investing was my decision to start it and like not turn back.
So you saw this video, you asked yourself, if not now, when? So did you just follow your intuition, or did you, somehow sat down, reflected upon what it is that you wanted to be doing and your skills or whatever, what you can bring to people or whatever, or did you just follow your intuition?
It was a mixture of things. I've been thinking about this for a long time. I've worked with 2 incredible mentors. One of them has been my coach since my figure days, and now she's more of like a spiritual mentor for me. Her name is Michelle Anderson. She's incredible. And she had been encouraging me for a long time to coach people. And like I said, I'd done some coaching, so I knew what my skill set was. I knew the specific way in which I could help people, and I knew my perspective on female or women's wellness. And part of the reason I started my business is because I knew my perspective and I didn't see it happening anywhere else. It could be out there, but I just was not aware of people health in the way that I love, and I think is most helpful and healing for people. Trying to think. Oh, and I also was working with another spiritual mentor and teacher who is named Marty Foster, and we were doing one-on-one sessions, which really like completely changed my life. And she'd been really, really teasing that part out of me. She was really, our work emphasized like how much I desired to do creative work. And so the seeds had been planted. But when I was standing there, it was just kind of, it was just a light bulb just went off. It was like, I'm am out of good reasons to not start this.
So in fact, it's from what you're describing, more or less the pieces of the jigsaw falling into place at that moment.
Yeah,
that was it. Okay.
Yeah.
So given and you and I have had that discussion, you will see what I mean. Given that there is this classical thing when we start a business, or we may already have started a business, about investing in yourself, daring to invest in yourself. How did you feel the moment you did join that course?
It was interesting. It was a huge amount of money for me to put down. I didn't have a ton of savings, and I still don't. And it was interesting. It didn't feel like I was spending money, really. It was like I was so resolute that this was the right thing. And really, I've said this throughout, like, in that moment, I was really buying my decision to start my business. Like, the content of B-School is incredible. The community is incredible. I'm so grateful for that experience. But truly what I was purchasing was the decision. And for that reason, it was exciting. And it was like I was buying an experience. So it didn't really feel like I was parting with my money in a way that was wrong. Yeah.
So, because I really would want women to understand the benefits of investing in themselves, if they're really serious about getting started and being successful, what were the benefits for you once you had invested in that and you had followed the program? What difference did it make for you?
Honestly, the community was really, really huge. When you, how do I put this? So it kind of, I think it may depend on your industry, but the industry that we're in, sort of the online marketing space, we need each other. And when you invest in working with a coach or, doing an online program from another online business owner, that person attracts people who are really, really like-minded. And aside from the content you get, it's like you bump up a level, I feel like, every time you invest in yourself in terms of who you're interacting with, who can support your journey, who you want to collaborate with as, a graphic designer or any areas like that. In terms of investment, it's also just motivation, really, to like sit down and create a schedule for yourself and do the work. Like with B-School, I was working a full-time job when I started it and went through it. So I was, doing 3 hours of work at a coffee shop in the morning before work. And I don't know that I would have done that if I didn't have this sort of accountability factor and structure, really, that was telling me what to do. I think I would have flailed without that sort of module 1, module 2.
So what I'm hearing also in what you're saying is the importance of community, of support. That really, for me, is a key. I personally am living in a isolated village in a country where, coaching is not at the same level as it is in Anglo-Saxon countries. And I therefore am more living in a virtual world from my business perspective. And definitely a community and support is vital. So what is your experience?
Yeah, it's vital. The thing is, like, so when you start a business, I always say that it's like a personal development course on speed. Like, it is really there when you're starting a business and it's you, like, there's nowhere to hide. It brings up all your stuff. It brings up your insecurities, your fears of being seen, your self-doubt, because you're marketing yourself basically to the world. And it's an amazing experience. and can also be challenging. And you need people to share both those ends of the spectrum with. And I have tons of friends who are not entrepreneurs, and I love them, and I have amazing relationships with them for certain things. And for all, you know, they do share in my excitement of my business successes, but it's a different lifestyle, and you do need those people who are actually living it as well, so they like viscerally understand just how much you put into like getting that guest post published, or just how exciting it is that you signed a couple new clients, and also who can kind of like walk you off the ledge, because when you feel, or if you're having a challenging day, it's like that's all you're feeling, and it's like tunnel vision, and you think it'll never be over.
Yeah.
And then I'll call one of my, you know, I have two really, really close friends who I'm thinking of. I'll call one of them, and they're like, Val, it's okay. Like, wake up tomorrow. It's fine. So I personally need that. And I think that
what I find very interesting with that as well is that, because you refer to, you know, difficult days and etc., and we all have them, is that we have this natural tendency of thinking, believing that what we are experiencing, we're the only one to experience it. And when we set it out there, all of a sudden you have 20 women telling you, oh, I have that too. And you feel slowly, oh, wait a moment, maybe it's normal.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So talking about challenges, what are your biggest challenges in that process?
In general, in all of this, in my business, one challenge I'm looking at is, so I do a lot of one-on-one work now, but I would really, really like to introduce some information products where people can really see the benefits of this work without necessarily working with me one-on-one. For whatever reason, that's not an option for them, or they don't want to. So what I'm looking at is how to, because one-on-one work, as much as I love it, it's a lot of work. Like you're doing a lot of like sending emails, creating worksheets for people. There's details day in, day out. And how do I create the time, and how do I be strategic about financially investing in the one-to-many type products as I'm still working with one-on-one clients? It's like, it's a transition that I'm really like learning how to navigate right now, because it's scary. It's like when you're working one-on-one, it's a huge infusion of money to your business at, you know, less often than an information product might be. But the thought of pricing something at $29 is a little bit daunting to me right now, because I do know that there's going to be so much financial investment going into creating that product. So I'm trying to kind of strategize what that might look like, how I might spend my time, how I might allocate my resources, and rebalance my offerings based on that desire to give people a lower price point offering that's maybe more like narrow than the coaching work that I do.
So the one-on-one work that you do you work only virtually, or do you work in person as well?
So far I've been mostly virtual. I actually just moved back in October, so I was kind of in transition and was only doing virtual work. Now I'm transitioning to doing in-person work with women in New York. So just having our weekly sessions in a facility in downtown Manhattan. Okay.
And so the work that you do, is that something that you could imagine delivering as, you know, a group program or something? Would that be an option for you as well?
To be honest, the group coaching angle has not captured my interest as of yet, just because I haven't figured out. I haven't gravitated towards that. I'm not saying I wouldn't in the future, but it just hasn't really come across my table yet.
No, I was just questioning because you have this thing around, you know, wanting to help women change the world. In fact, well, when you work with only one person at a time, it's much more slower, of course, if you can reach out to more people. And the other interesting thing I think in the work you do is that as women, well, we are usually the caregivers in the family, etc. So how we are changing our own habits will have an impact on the people around us. So
totally. Yeah, I will say the direction I'm really like long-term heading in is I love building community. And one thing that really, really changed my personal journey was joining a women's circle. I would love, my dream is to really create communities of women across the country who are actually gathering in person and really creating connections with one another, because we can do a certain amount of work on ourselves as women, you know, alone or within our family units or with a coach, but something really, really amazing happens, kind of like support within the entrepreneur community when you're talking to someone in person about something you struggle with related to your body, because women don't have a lot of spaces to gather in, period. And we certainly don't have a language to really, how do I put it? Like, talk about our bodies in a way that's below the surface level, like really, truly expressing our truths. There's a lot of conversation about, oh, I need to lose weight, or I'm trying to lose 10 pounds, or I need to like get rid of my muffin top. But there's not a lot of like, you know,
what's behind
I
that?
have struggled with
What's behind that?
Yeah, exactly. And the darker stuff, which is really, we're all experiencing it. So why don't we just all talk about it?
But I think that that's coming back also. It's funny what you're saying, because I'm just thinking aloud here, coming back to this notion of working with groups of women, and referring earlier to the fact that we always think that what we are experiencing, we are the only ones. Being in a group context, when we start hearing that the others have the same as well, etc., might also help. I'm not trying to push you into group work. That's not the thing. But I'm just thinking loud here when we're alone, addressing all those issues may not be as easy that, you know, when we start seeing that others have the same type of problems, because we all have the same, in fact. Yeah, interesting. So I always like to ask who your ideal client is, because obviously when people will be listening to the interview, well, if relevant, I would want people to recognize themselves and think, hey, she's the one that I need. So who's your ideal client? Who are you working with?
Yeah, so I work with women who are in their early 20s to like early 30s.
That's not me.
I'll discuss the subject with you. I mean, I will say, like, this is not everyone. I have clients all across the board of moms and all that. But in general, I work with women who are in that age range and they were born knowing they have something great inside of them, that they're destined for an amazing life. And they really love life. Like, they're self-described lovers of life. But there's a disconnect, and they feel it in all areas of their life. Maybe they're not happy at work, even though they're super motivated and, you know, very savvy, go-getter women. They probably struggle in their romantic relationships, and really what they blame for it is their relationship with food, their relationship with their bodies. They're stressed out about food, what to eat, how much of it, when. They feel really frustrated not knowing how to actually change their bodies or work out in the right way. And they're ready to change. They're ready to trust in a new way.
So the clients you have, are they conscious that the food is only scratching the surface, that there is something else behind it, or do they really come to you from the angle of food?
They do. They are aware. Well, they are aware deep down. I I think. They're aware that their behaviors around food are driven by certain types of emotions. So like there is that acknowledgement of like, when I'm really stressed out about breaking up with a guy, I tend to binge eat. Or when I am, really stressed at work, that's when I mindlessly eat. I don't think that people necessarily always have put the pieces together of the larger picture of, so for me, the way that I think about these issues is that when you're living a life that is not your authentic life, it is naturally going to manifest in anxiety, stress, which results in behaviors around food that don't necessarily serve us. And by inauthentic, I don't mean like you're a phony. I mean, we have a very specific idea of what success looks like in Western countries, and it involves getting the boyfriend. It involves like doing the job that'll make you money and secure your future, and getting awards and prestige. And the vast majority of people really want the benefits of those things. They want to be accepted. They want to be accomplished. They want to do amazing things, but there's this cultural script that doesn't work for everyone. So, until you really learn to define like what you want, how to live your life authentically, how to define success on your own terms, there's going to be a disjuncture. And for a lot of women, because of diet culture, because of fitness culture, that manifests as binge eating. It manifests as, counting calories, being really obsessive about what you're eating, going through long phases of under eating and then just like eating whatever the heck you want. All of which are normal within this context, but not normal within how we've evolved to eat as human beings. So, I can't remember how that started. But
doesn't matter. Originally, I think it was something to do with your ideal clients. I think that's more or less where we started. But
yeah, so I don't think necessarily that clients have maybe looked at it within the frame that I just explained. I think they do know it's emotionally motivated, like it's motivated.
Yeah, I went from your ideal client to whether they were conscious or not that they come to you for a food problem or their relationship to food, but that there's probably more behind it. Yeah, that's how we came there. So I'm becoming conscious of time as well. What is it? What would be the tips that you would want to give to women who would want to start their business, who start a business or something else, by the way? For me, it's really about women who are making their dreams happen, in fact, and who can find success, whatever that means to them, and fulfillment.
Yeah. What advice would I give? First is really work on your relationship with money. And I mean that in the sense of both educating yourself on the nuts and bolts as much as you can of like how to structure a business, how to understand cash flow. And then also sort of the more emotional side of like, how do you think about money? Are you able to, what are your money blocks? I don't know if that's a term necessarily that your readers are familiar with, but what is your history with money, and how can you heal it in order to create more flow of money in your business? And the reason I say that is because I think a lot of people start a business because they're passionate about what they're working on and the work that they do. But I've really learned how, important it is to have your eyes wide open when it comes to your finances and your relationship with money, and to not avoid it. Because it can be anxiety producing, especially when you're starting a business, you're funding your business, you're paying your bills, you're paying your rent, whatever, your costs in your life are. So, the second thing is just keep showing up. Like everyone says it, but it's really true. this is really hard, and it's not to say you shouldn't do it. And I know people resist others saying that business is hard. I think it is a very challenging, thing to ask of yourself, and it's really worth it, but it just requires continuing to show up. And I've seen over time, like, I've been really discouraged in the past, but that's always when, like, the dawn will break. Like, the next day, a seed that I planted months and months before will flower. And when you continue to show up, those seeds keep flowering. What else here? It takes patience. Like, when you're really clear on what you want and you're a really sort of ambitious person, maybe, it's really easy to tell yourself that you're not where you want to be. But these things really do take time. It takes time to grow. Yeah, it takes time to grow relationships for partnerships or with other entrepreneurs, or, to figure out really who you want to work with, or, what offerings are taking off and what aren't. And we can't know that overnight. So just remember that. It's especially hard in online marketing because there are a lot of people who kill it, like, pretty quickly. And not to say that they don't work hard or that they haven't, done a lot of sort of wading through the mud in the past, but that's what you hear a lot of. So just remember that it's okay if you're not, like, just smashing it right out the gate. Yeah, I think those are my best tips. And I would also say really have a practice of self-care and going inward for yourself, because it's really easy to get addicted to work and to not get up and make yourself lunch and to not have any time for yourself. And in order to feel good as you're building your business, and in order to create a business that is really truly aligned with who you are and what you're here to do in the world, it requires being in touch with yourself. And that means, having some time in the morning to do uplifting things, or to meditate if that's your thing, or, and, journaling is great. And that has been really crucial for me. So.
I love it because I didn't know what tips you would be giving, but it ties so well with the work that I'm doing. The self-care is the central piece of the work I do. It's really about, how I present that, connecting the dots between you, your life, and your business. And, the money mindset, I am a money breakthrough certified coach, so I know what you are talking about. And it's never about money. It's never about money. And you give me an absolutely fabulous transition because, I am very much aligned with our next guest because we both believe that that women should be financially independent. But our next guest on June the 1st, unless I am getting one for next week, because I used to have 2 shows a month only, and I'm enjoying this so much that I'm doing every week now. But that is something I've just changed. So unless I have another one next week, my next guest will be on June 1st, Jen Terrell of jenterrell.com. The amazing Jen Terrell.
I love Jen Terrell.
I love Jen as well, yeah. So she will definitely be talking about the importance of having your finances into place. Yeah, so that's great. So furthermore, if you want to know more about the work that I do, you can go to agnesvanrijn.com, and that is ANYESVANRHIJN.com. So thank you so much, Val, and I've really, really enjoyed interviewing you, and good luck with everything, and we will be talking at the other side. See you. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.